In the swirling chaos of Port Charles, where alliances shift like the tides and secrets hide behind every smile, the week leading into May 19-23, 2025, reveals a landscape riddled with betrayal, confrontation, and a slow-burning power struggle that touches nearly every corner of town. At the center of it all stands Drew Kane Quartermain, who is no longer playing defense. With a growing arsenal of leverage, carefully chosen words, and calculated alliances, Drew is preparing to turn the tables on everyone. By the time the week began, the air was already thick with suspicion. Alexis Davis found herself spiraling under the weight of her own desperation. With Ava Jerome and Rick Lansing closing in on her darkest vulnerabilities, Alexis had little choice but to act. Her theft of a sizable sum of money, which she justified as a necessary evil to protect her daughter Christina, had now left her exposed to blackmail. But Alexis has been down dark roads before. This time, she knew she needed someone who could slip through digital walls and dismantle secrets hidden in binary code. Damian Spinelli was the only person who could make the impossible possible. While Spinelli's skills might offer Alexis a temporary reprieve, the larger storm had already been set in motion. The video evidence tying Christina to a near-fatal car accident was more than just a threat, it was a weapon that Rick and Ava wielded with surgical precision. Whether stored on surveillance systems or nestled in Ava's phone, the footage could destroy lives. Alexis didn't just need it gone. She needed it erased, like it had never existed. And if anyone could manage that, it was Spinelli. Simultaneously, another powder keg was ready to explode in the Corinthos family, this time over the matter of custody. Carly Corinthos Spencer, never one to wait idly by when she felt her family was at risk, had been quietly orchestrating a legal siege on Drew and Willow Tate. With Diane Miller moving swiftly through the court system on Carly's orders, Willow was blindsided when she received legal papers that hinted at an aggressive move for full custody of the children she shares with Michael. Though it appeared to be Michael's doing on the surface, there were signs this was a maneuver Carly had set into motion entirely on her own. Willow, already reeling from Drew's recent erratic behavior and the emotional toll of Michael's cold distance while he remained in Germany, now found herself caught in a legal and emotional whirlwind. For a woman who once believed in the promise of a united family, the betrayal, real or perceived, left her shaken. But amid the confusion, Drew stepped forward with a surprising offer. He told Willow he could help, that he had a way of fixing what had been broken. What remained unclear was his true motivation. Was it love? Guilt? Or simply another strategic move in a game no one else realized had already begun? Laura Spencer, always a voice of moral clarity in a city drowning in gray areas, was losing her patience. The undercurrents of deceit were beginning to erode her confidence, particularly as whispers of Sidwell's deeper involvement in recent schemes reached her ears. But even as Laura sought answers, Elizabeth Weber found herself haunted by the past. A single memory, long buried beneath trauma and denial, surged forward. The crash that nearly claimed her life and Rick's had never sat right with her. And now, in a flash of clarity, she remembered Rick's panicked words about the brakes, words he had hoped she'd never recall. The implications were enormous. If Rick had known something was wrong with the car before the crash, the incident could no longer be classified as an accident. It became intent. It became conspiracy. And with Rick's blackmail plans falling apart at the seams, his desperate need for silence only grew more dangerous. Elsewhere, Christina battled with her own demons. The weight of guilt, confusion, and a crumbling trust in her mother left her raw and conflicted. When she confided in Dante, she confessed a truth she had tried to suppress. She wasn't sure she could ever forgive Alexis for the way things had unfolded. Christina had always believed in redemption, in the healing power of honesty. But now, that belief felt naive. She had been part of something that nearly cost lives, and her mother's actions, however well-meaning, felt more like betrayal than protection. Thursday arrived with no reprieve. Sunny Corinthos, carrying the burden of a fractured family and looming custody war, tried to offer guidance to Gio Palmieri, still guilt-ridden over Rocco's recent brush with alcohol poisoning. Sunny understood the torment of past mistakes and tried to reach the boy not as a crime boss or even a father figure, but as someone who had walked the same jagged path. For Gio, the talk brought some clarity, but the guilt didn't fade. Not yet. As Rick began to feel the walls closing in, an unexpected offer came his way. Whether from Alexis, seeking to neutralize the threat he posed, or Spinelli, hoping to barter a digital favor for peace, Rick was now at a crossroads. Meanwhile, Elizabeth's growing concerns pulled her into a candid conversation with Lucas Jones, and her suspicions about the crash became harder to suppress. Lucky Spencer, ever the seeker of justice, began to connect the dots. The brakes. The blackmail. The accident. They were all part of a puzzle that painted Rick in an increasingly damning light. By Friday, secrets that had simmered beneath the surface were ready to erupt. Sunny attempted to bridge the gap between Willow and Michael, unaware that Carly had orchestrated the very war he was trying to end. Nina, caught between maternal loyalty and romantic desperation, turned to Carly for help. She wanted the legal drama to end, hoping Carly could talk Michael down. But in a bitter twist of irony, Nina didn't realize that Carly was the architect of the nightmare she sought to escape. As all of Port Charles held its collective breath, alliances began to shift. Drew, once seen as a victim of manipulation, emerged with a sharper edge. He had leverage. He had secrets. And above all, he had the motivation to protect the family he still believed in, even if it meant going against them. Carly's grip on the legal system was tightening, but it was unclear how long she could operate in the shadows before being exposed. Alexis, torn between maternal instinct and legal peril, placed her last hopes in Spinelli. And Christina, at the crossroads of identity and redemption, stood ready to make a choice that could redefine her entire future. In Port Charles, the past is never truly buried. And as May turns to summer, the city braces for a reckoning where the only certainty is that no one walks away unscathed.